What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stats Free Sports channel. Here to bring you another episode of Fix Your Franchise. This is the second one. The first one did well. As I said in that video, I did the Patriots. And I said if that video did well, at least well for my standards, I will do another one. And here we are, the second one for the series. And this is for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars, they're in a kind of a tricky situation. They're going to need a new head coach, most likely. Doug Peterson hasn't been fired yet, but probably will. The O-line issues, cornerback issues. So even my receiver could be a small issue as well, even though they have a lot of them or a nice amount of them. They might need to tweak the roster a little bit as far as the receiving core go. But let's get into it, guys. So first off, um, reportedly, the estimate for the Jags cap space is around 40 to 50 million, somewhere in between. Every number I've seen is around 45, 46, but we'll just have the range of 40, 50 million. That should be where the Jags should be spending around that amount. But the first thing on their offseason to-do list, obviously get Trevor Lawrence healthy, which he should be. The nasty hit by Azeez Ojulari a couple weeks ago. He should be fine by now. They're keeping him out just for extra precaution, and also they have nothing to play for. So that makes sense there. First thing on the list is fire and hire a new head coach. Fire Doug Peterson. Didn't pan out in his short tenure there. What, three? I want to say 3 years. He followed after Urban Meyer. Wasn't bad, but wasn't good. Had a lot of low moments. But I still, not to say it's not on him, but I still place the blame a little bit on Trevor Lawrence. Another story from another video, but I think Doug Peterson has to go. The coach they will look for, I would say a more defensive-minded coach. For me personally, if the coach you're firing is an offensive guy, hire the defensive head coach, especially if that side of the ball is struggling. Offense should be fine. Even though I'm not the biggest Trevor Lawrence fan, the offense has talent. If the defensive-minded head coach hires a good offensive coordinator, they should be fine. So I'm fine with them hiring a defensive-minded head coach. We'll see who that could be. Brian Flores, Mike Vrabel, the list goes on. Someone else, what's the man from Aaron Glenn from the Detroit Lions? There's a lot of options out there, but I think they should lean towards a defensive-minded head coach. That's just me, but we'll see where they end up going. Next up on their list, and on my personal list for them to do, trade Christian Kirk. Before he got injured, the rumor, I think it was confirmed by Schefter and also Ian Rappaport, that Christian Kirk was going to be traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I say do the same trade. I think that trade still makes sense. Christian Kirk still has 1 year left on his contract. I think he recovered from the injury. I forgot what the injury was, but he should be back by training camp or at least close to the start of the season. I say trade him in general, but the Steelers trade should be on the table still, and it makes sense. They still need him for this upcoming season, in my opinion. And, we'll see how their season ends as far as their playoff runs go. But no matter what happens, Christian Kirk should be an addition to the Steelers team, or at least it could be still. So trade Christian Kirk, no matter where it goes, Kirk should be on the move and out of the Jacksonville Jaguars roster. Next up, re-sign players. Who do you bring back? So I have a short list here. For me personally, as a non-Jags fan, I only have two guys. We'll go through the small list. You have Brandon Sheriff, guard. You have Andre Cisco, do-it-all safety. Mac Jones, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Caleb Johnson, Dearness Johnson, Luke Farrell, Deshaun Dixon, Cole Van Lanen, and Tim Jones. Out of all those guys, the only ones, if I'm the Jags, I would consider bringing back is the veteran guard, Brandon Sheriff. He's been good, not great. Still above average, though, but not great, getting older. If you were to bring him back, I say on a good 1 year deal. If not, I'm gonna address that later on in the free agency and in the draft section. But if you don't bring him back, that's all fine too. They should have some backup plans available if they don't bring back Brandon Sheriff. Andre Cisco, pretty good, I believe, out of Syracuse or Illinois, one of them orange schools. He's been good, not great. I think they can go without paying him. They can fill that role in the draft and also in free agency as well, which I will touch on in a few minutes. So either one of those guys aren't a shoe in to bring back, and they don't have to bring back, in my opinion. There should be other options to fill those holes. So it's up to the Jags. Cisco maybe a 2 or 3 year deal with the out after the second year, and then Brandon Sheriff maybe a 1 or 2 year deal. Nothing crazy, nothing major. But the funny thing I can really see going to free agency, Trey Smith, guard from the Chiefs. He's going to be looking for a big payday. He's one of the Chiefs' best overall players. If he hits the open market, which he probably will, everything looks like he probably will, I think there could be a not a trade, but a kind of a swap. I think Brandon Sheriff could go to the Chiefs on a 1 or 2 year deal. Like I said, still above average, getting up there in age, but still above average. I think he could go to the Chiefs on a 1 year deal, and then Trey Smith could sign a long-term big money deal with the Jags. So look out for that. I don't know if it happens or not, but that could be something that happens. Not a trade per se, as I said, but kind of just a switch of players. Kind of just a coincidence. So we'll see how that happens with Brandon Sheriff and where he goes to. But like I said, he hasn't been great since the year 2022 with the Commanders. He was awesome then. Like I said, going to the Jags since then, he's been very good, just not how he used to be great. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know if the Jags want to still pay for that. They could, like I said, bring him back on a 1 year deal, then draft someone who's like a replacement after the next year. So we'll see where they go there. But on to free agency, as I said, Trey Smith, guard, makes a lot of sense. But the thing they have to hammer on the most, they have to get the cornerback situation right. They have to. No doubt about it. Tyson Campbell has been good for years now. And then Jacksonville Jaguars cornerback room, they have to get a DB to pair with him. I'm looking at DJ Reed from the Jets, primetime corner, paired with Sauce Gardner for a couple years now. He's on the market. I think he might leave. We'll see. But he should get the big bucks. He's a very solid corner. Pairing him with Tyson Campbell, and also when we'll get into it later as well, but if they draft Travis Hunter, that would be a very nice DB duo, a trio. That'll be super nice. So, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. But that'd be pretty good. So DJ Reed from the Jets is a good option. You have Paulson Adebo from the Saints, very good option. He's a little handsy. I wouldn't be mad at it, but he's a little handsy, a little too much hands, too much physicality with him, but he's still solid. He's not bad at all. So him from the Saints, he's Paulson Adebo, he's also an option. And then the 49ers best corner, Charvarius Ward, had a pretty good year. Had some off the field issues, not issues, but some off the field problem that happened with his child and all that stuff that passed away. But other than that, he kind of had an up and down year. So prayers to him. But overall, still a good player. Better in 2023 than he was in 2024. So, like I said, the main one I would target is DJ Reed. But if you want to get Ward, or if you end up getting Paulson or Debo, that's not bad. But Reed is probably the star cornerback to pair with Tyson Campbell. Receiver is kind of iffy. Do they need receiver? Do they need pass rush? They have Armstead. They have Josh Allen. They have Trayvon Walker, the former first overall pick a couple years ago. Do they need a Khalil Mack? Do they need a Joey Bosa if they're available? Do they need a Hassan Reddick? There's names out there that you could add. I'm not sure. Maybe they don't want to go that high end. They can find someone else like a Yannick Ngakoue, bring him back. He been there years ago. But someone like that, Matthew Judon, those guys, a cheaper veteran could make sense. Or they could go, like I said, a Khalil Mack, Bosa, Hassan Reddick, someone that costs a little bit more money. And then you have the receiver route. I did a video on this this past year, this past summer prior to the season started. I still feel confident in it, and that's T. Higgins rejoining his former Clemson college teammates, Trevor Lawrence and what's his name, Travis Etienne. If Etienne stays, he could be on a trade block also. But if T. Higgins actually hits the market, look out for Jacksonville. They don't really need him per se. Gabe Davis got paid a couple year deal for a lot of millions of dollars, but he's not really playing up to par. They have the tight end. Forgot his name now. They have a tight end who is Trevor Lawrence's favorite target. They have Brian Thomas Jr., who had an amazing rookie year so far, but I just don't know if they really need T. Higgins. That's up for debate to me. So I don't know. We'll see, but that is a landing spot for him. If he hits the open market, we'll definitely see what happens with T. Higgins. But as I said, most teams who need a receiver will target him, and other teams have more money, like the Patriots, who I did in my first video. So they have around $90 million to spend. The Giants have some nice bread, so we'll see where Higgins goes. But the Jaguars are a threat to land him. That's really it for as far as the free agency targets go. Like I said, I can go really deep in with the veterans, but we're going to keep it short on that for right now. We might do a deeper dive closer to free agency time. As far as draft targets here, this is interesting. As I said, the Travis Hunter thing, that fit makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. If you can get a corner, a Debo, Ward, Reed, and they played opposite corner with Tyson Campbell, then you can throw in Travis Hunter at the slot slash nickel, and then obviously he played receiver as well. That solves two issues right there with one player. So Hunter would make the most sense if he's available, but you don't have to go there. If you want just a pure corner, you can go Will Johnson from Michigan, probably the best pure corner in this draft class. You can also trade back, get like a Brian Morrison from where's Brian Morrison from? I forgot now, but Brian Morrison, pretty solid. So if you want to go the corner route, if you want to pick in the top five, you can go with Will Johnson or Travis Hunter, or trade back for like a Brian Morrison or a cornerback from ECU who got injured like early in the season, Ravel. So one of those options does make sense. We'll see where it goes there. But I'm really loving Mason Graham, Michigan defensive tackle. He is a monster. He's a beast. Pair him with Allen. Pair him with Armstead, who's getting older. Pair him with Walker, and that defensive front gets even scarier. They need some more oomph to it, and I think Mason Graham, he has the it factor, and he provides that. In my opinion, I think he's probably the number 2 overall player in this draft class. To me personally, I have Travis Hunter 1, I have Mason Graham 2. So I think very highly of Mason Graham. I even think if you wanna get funky with it, you can have Armstead play inside, Graham play outside, Walker just moves around everywhere, Allen rush from the outside. It can get real nasty, real funky in the best way possible with this Jags team if they can add a Mason Graham. So that to me makes sense. Also, you can go as I said, if you want to go keep Brandon Sheriff on like a 1 year deal, you can have a future starter, excuse me, in this place, and probably in the late first one trade back or even early second, you can go with Tate Ratledge, inside guard. He makes the most sense as well in the second round. As I said, that's more of the Brandon Sheriff returns on like a 1 year deal route. If not, if you're going to get a Trey Smith type of guy, then obviously you probably don't need Ratledge. You still could draft him. It's not a bad thing to have more offensive line depth. So I think Tate Ratledge makes sense there as well. Let's say you go Travis Hunter round 1, and you don't get a pass rusher. Late, if you want to trade back into the late first, or even if this player falls to the second, you can go with the Tyleik Williams pass rusher. I believe out of Georgia. Big boy, long arms. He can get the job done. Like I said, the Jags need more oomph. And Josh Allen, he gives you that sometimes. Trayvon Walker gives you that sometimes. Armstead's getting older. His great play is getting limited. So you need someone young and vibrant to give you that. Or like I said, you can also go the veteran route in free agency. Get Khalil Mack, get Hassan Reddick, someone of that nature, Matthew Judon. So that the combos could definitely vary, or you can do both. Get someone young and get a veteran as well. So depends on how the Jags spend that $40-50 million. And the last player I have on my draft list, the really for the Jags to target, if they don't get Travis Hunter, if they prefer the Will Johnson or trade back for Brian Morrison, they can also get that slot guy, slot slash safety slash nickelback guy in Sebastian Castro from Iowa. One of my favorite players in this draft. probably falls to the late second, third, maybe even the high fourth round, depending on how the draft goes. Castro, not super athletic, not super fast, super quick, but he's a heck of a ball player from Iowa. Iowa has been pushing out safeties and corners the last couple years, and hard hitting guy. He can play inside the box. He's kind of a hybrid guy. Like I said, safety, outside corner, nickelback corner, any way you want him. That's where you can kind of fit him at. And he reminds me not of the style, not the type of player, well, not the player himself, because he's an all pro, but the style of player, and that's Buda Baker from the Arizona Cardinals, someone I predicted for the Jags to trade for a couple years ago, about a year and a half ago, when he demanded a trade. He wanted a brand new contract. He didn't get a brand new contract then. He got one now. He just got one a couple weeks ago. But then a year and a half ago, he wanted more money. They end up giving him like a couple $1 million on his deal, but he got a brand new contract a couple weeks ago. So I doubt he gets traded now. But Buda Baker, to me, made a lot of sense at that time, and even now, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Do it all guy. He's smaller than Castro, but he's a do it all veteran, all pro safety. Deep in the box, deep. He can go in the box. He can tackle, cover wherever you want. Outside corner, inside nickelback, slot, safety, whatever. Buda Baker does all that as well. So Castro gives me similar vibes. Not the same player, like I said. Baker is all pro, so he's proven. But Castro can give you some good play in multiple spots. Kind of a hybrid. So that's what you want in today's NFL. Someone who can cover multiple spots. And so that's the value in having a guy like Castro, like Travis Hunter, and stuff like that. So, but that's it for the video, guys. Like I said before, this video does well again, I will give you a third one. And like I said, we're going to focus on the lesser teams first, the teams that are more interesting. The good playoff teams, the Commanders, my Falcons, the Bucks, the Eagles, Chiefs, all the big boys we'll get to later once the playoffs and all that stuff is done prior to free agency started. We'll make sure we get them done. But right now, we're going to focus on the more entertaining, the teams who are struggling. They provide the most need for the most part. So that's it for the video, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys next time.